gentlemen, good evening. Now, can you all hear me? Everybody hears this? Good.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. Great. Now, I have to say, I'm always happy to see people who, when they hear the words, there's an economics lecture going on tonight, drop everything and go. That amazes me. That there is a subset of the population that fits that description. So thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to try to make this as informative and as entertaining as I can. I'm also going to try to keep to a reasonable schedule here. So my watch, I notice there's no clock in this lecture hall, so the poor students have to sneak glances at their cell phones to figure out when they're getting out of here. Okay, fine. This is the book that Justin mentioned, one of them anyway. It's called Meltdown. It's been doing pretty well, sales-wise, as he mentioned, a bestseller and everything, so it's been a tremendous surprise to me. Again, for the same reason that I'm surprised people will come out to hear an economics lecture, I'm amazed they'll go out and buy a book about the economy. But I think these days, it's an easier sell than usual. Because I think most people have one question on their minds, which is, what the heck is going on here? And how do we get out of it? It's kind of a two-part question, but it's on everybody's minds. And so I wrote this thing. I'm not going to tell you how quickly I wrote it, because then you'll think it can't possibly be worth anything. So let's just say I worked on it in great haste at the end of 2008. So it's got events going through December 2008, and it came out February 9th. So I have a very fast publisher. I worked very quickly, because I was convinced that if I didn't do this, then there wouldn't be any dissenting voices. At least here there's one dissenting voice, but right now we've got a chorus of yes men. Every one of which is saying things like, yes, the government needs to do X, Y, and Z. Yes, the free market has failed. Yes, the geniuses who rule us need to get us out of this. I mean, this is the thunderous chorus that greets you everywhere you turn. It's all over CNBC. It's all over the major networks. It's in the business press. It's on the left. It's even on little parts on the right. We've got to have the government bail us out of this. The diagnosis and the treatment are both so hideously and grotesquely wrong that they're setting us up for an even worse bust to come. So my book pretty much says the opposite of what you're being told, but I'll leave you to judge tonight, after I put forth the evidence, whether in fact it's more persuasive than what you're being told. Now, it's worth noting that anybody who tells you that nobody could have predicted this crisis is a liar. Because people did predict this crisis. A bunch of them predicted it. They predicted it for several years. And they were literally laughed at for predicting it. Now, some of you in this room, I'm sure, are familiar with the name Peter Schiff, S-C-H-I-F-F, and some of you aren't. You can go on YouTube and type in Peter Schiff was right, and you'll see a video that has 1.3 million views. So this isn't just dorks. There aren't that many dorks in the country. So this is normal people, too, watching this video. Peter Schiff's an investment guy, and this Peter Schiff was right video is a compilation of various clips, TV clips of Schiff on Fox News, CNBC, whatever. And these programs will feature him up against other experts. And these clips are from 2006 and 2007. And you see all the other experts saying, oh, the economy is stronger than ever, the fundamentals are sound, the Dow is heading to 30,000, I think the best thing you should do with your money is buy Merrill Lynch, and they go on and on and on. And then you have Schiff saying, what's the matter with you people? This is obviously phony prosperity. Fannie and Freddie are going to go bankrupt. Merrill Lynch is going under. Stay away from the financials. Instead, buy gold. But this is going to come to grief. And I'm not joking, you can hear people laughing at him. Now, every single thing he said came true. Every single thing. And the only one of these blockheads on that video who had the decency to say to him, Peter Schiff, you were right and I was wrong. You called it and I didn't, was Ben Stein. I don't know if Ferris Bueller is too long ago for you guys, but Ben Stein was the only one who admitted, I got it all wrong, and Schiff was right. So Schiff saw it coming, and he's not alone. I'll talk about a few others. Are these people being consulted today? Is the president calling them on the phone to consult them? No. Was the previous president calling them on the phone to consult them? No. So it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. If you're in Washington, with a few honorable exceptions, the attitude seems to be, whether you're George Bush or Barack Obama, I want to pick out, to advise me, the people who made the worst predictions, the people who were totally blindsided by this, and who haven't got the first clue what's going on or what to do about it. I want them on my team. That seems to be the rule. But if you predicted this to a T, if you understand what you're talking about, and you actually have a proposal for getting us out of it that makes sense and has actually worked somewhere on Earth, well, you know, we don't have all day to talk to you people. That's what's going on. I mean, this is like, it's like we are living in a giant insane asylum. Or it's like you're watching a slow-motion train wreck. Or it's like you're dreaming, you know, when you're in dreams and terrible, disastrous things are going on, you know, and you're naked on top of it, and you're watching these things, and you can't control anything in a dream. But you know, oh, this is a disaster, yet for some reason you just can't somehow get there. It's exactly like it's exactly like watching the news today. Especially if you understand what the problem is and why the solutions they're coming up with are so blockheaded. So what I want to do tonight, as I say, is give you a different perspective, a perspective that is growing in respectability and in attention, and it belongs to a school of thought in economics called the Austrian School of Economics. Now, this is not a physical school, it's a school of thought. It's called the Austrian School because many of its practitioners came from Austria. But today, there are probably more subscribers to the Austrian School of Thought in the US than there are in Austria. So I want to talk about the Austrians tonight because every time we hear nobody could have predicted this, I'm reminded of the fact that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Austrian economists all predicted. And they are, at this time, the Austrian school, they are the oldest continuously existing school of economic thought still in existence. They are the smallest school of economic thought in existence, but they are the fastest growing. Particularly because young people, and you know, now I sound like I'm 87, but you know, younger people than I am, I mean, some of you people, are waking up and realizing that the people on TV are either lying or they have no clue about the economy. And the Austrian school predicted the crisis, they know what they're talking about, they sort of seem like the cool school to belong to now. Whereas the traditional stuff in economics that you get taught with all these incomprehensible equations, this just seems so old, so yesterday, so out of date. In fact, if you read the American Economic Review, then you must be the only one reading. Because they actually did a study. How many people read the typical article in the American Economic Review? The answer is about 2.5 people. So 2.5 people. So there's a half a guy out there somewhere reading these articles. Because they have made economics into incomprehensible mathematical jargon. The Austrians shuck that and say, let's just talk about, let's use reason, what's going on here. I don't need to draw you a diagram to explain that the reason the economy looked pretty good in World War II is that we drafted 12 million people into the armed forces, we had 9 million people out of work, what do you think's going to happen? I don't need to do it. I don't need to engage in calculus to explain this. This is just simple common sense. So, if we were going to be here for a 3-hour seminar, which we're not, I would talk about some of the lesser factors that led to where we are now. Like, for example, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are companies that everybody knew would be bailed out if they got in trouble. It was their job to buy mortgages in the secondary market, which is a fancy way of saying that when the bank gives you a mortgage loan,